Hello, beautiful people. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Crystal Turner. I am a psychiatric nurse practitioner who has gone holistic because I know to be whole is to be healed. And today we are talking about the infamous people pleaser. And I call them infamous because there are so many people who are people pleasers, and you know if you're a people pleaser. The other people around you might not know because you may put on a really good facade that you are, being truly who you are. But the person who is doing the people pleasing really knows that they're not being true to themselves. So I'm going to read a definition of a people pleaser so you can see if it sounds like you, and then we're going to break it down from there. So a people pleaser is a type of personality where a person feels a strong urge to please others even at the expense of themselves. And it also says that they may feel that their wants and needs do not matter or alter their personality around others. So that's why I say, there are a lot of people who are people pleasers and you may not know it, because some people are really able to put on a front of who it is they are. All the time, though, they are really working against themselves, I'll say. So let's talk about the people pleaser. I want to talk about how being a people pleaser is breaking you down in terms of who you are mentally, emotionally, spiritually, how being a people pleaser is breaking you down. And then also, how can you stop doing this, right? Because it takes some attention to understand, how can I break free from this? I do believe that most people who are people pleasers don't want to be this way, but there's a background, there's a reason for everything. And when it comes to people pleasers on this channel, we really do talk about growing out of adversity, growing out of childhood trauma and traumatic experiences that we've had in general that now keep you kind of stifled in who it is that you are really meant to be. It's hard to grow because that pain or that adversity is hampering you in some type of a way. So the thing with that is there are many people who this is a trauma response after having dealt with, adversity or traumatic experiences earlier on, especially when it comes from earlier on in life, when you're creating the foundation of how you see yourself and how you see the world. It's when things happen to us in that time frame, it's really kind of becoming part of our identity and how we are, the things we've learned, and then how we act from it. So a lot of people who are people pleasers have dealt with trauma, and there's many thought around that people who are people pleasers in their time when they were experiencing adversity, or if they had an abuser, so to speak, that their way of getting through those times would be to try to appease the abuser, appease the person, appease the group of people or that person who's really causing the pain that you were experiencing. And so as a child, that makes sense because there are other types of trauma responses like fight, like flight. So fight means just that. Flight means to run away. And in many situations as a child, neither of those are really an option to be able to fight off whatever the circumstance is, because in many situations, you are vulnerable to your environment. It's not like you're earning money and being able to pack up and just leave necessarily. Or even if you are, is it a better option than what you're experiencing? Sometimes even the familiar seems safe. And as a child, again, it's much more complex than as an adult dealing with some difficulties. So you're not able to fight people off necessarily. It's not an option to run away necessarily. And so that next thing that a person might do is try to be super nice to the people who are hurting them, with the goal that that person will be nice back, will not harm them in those moments. And again, when you're learning these patterns of being to survive, when you're in the midst of a traumatic experience, especially as a child, it can become a pattern of behavior. That's all. It becomes a pattern of behavior that, especially if you weren't able to process these things that happen, you take those patterns into adulthood. It's not like as a child you develop this pattern and then just because you have become a certain age that suddenly the pattern leaves. That's not how it happens. We develop patterns of being, early on. And it takes some consciousness to be able to recognize those patterns in order to be able to start breaking away from patterns if you feel like those patterns haven't been helpful. And I would dare to say that any people pleaser is not really happy with that pattern of being. And I know that because I used to do that incessantly. I used to please so much because the idea of rejection was so difficult. So we're going to talk about what are some ways that this behavior breaks you down. So let's get into it. So the first way that this breaks you down is that it causes you to overextend yourself. Being a people pleaser causes you to overextend yourself because you're already doing something that you didn't really want to do. And so now, you're overextending beyond what you really want. And the impact of that is that it can cause you to be burned out. It can cause you to be exhausted. It can cause you to never have time to be able to give to your own very important needs for yourself. And so how can you really move through that and break out of that pattern is to learn to start saying no. But I want to put some emphasis around this because, I hear a lot of talk that says no is a complete sentence. And I get it. I do get that. I understand the importance of that. But for some people, it's a journey to get to that point of just saying no. And if someone thinks that their only option is to just say no, it just may be hard to get to that point where you have that boundary. So when boundaries are important, saying no is a boundary, no is a complete sentence is something to learn. But if you're someone, when you hear that right now, it is just overwhelming and it causes you to know that you're probably not going to do that. Let's think about how you can still say no, but not as directly if it's challenging you right now. So that would look like having a boundary to say no, but the way that you could do that is to think about saying yes to yourself. So in an effort to say yes to yourself about something, it is going to say no to some other people and maybe no to those people who you would normally overextend yourself to. So this takes thinking about what you want, dedicating some time to doing this thing for yourself. So if someone comes in your space and asks you for something, say, no, that's, I have some other things going on that time, or no, that's my special time. And make sure that you're honoring yourself by saying yes to that. So honor yourself by saying yes to you is going to indirectly say no to someone else. That is a way to be able to say no to what you don't want. It's the first thing about what you want and say yes to that. So if you've already developed a system for yourself or a schedule for the week, and let's just say Friday night you are planning to pamper yourself or take yourself wherever, and then someone comes and they want you to go somewhere with them that you really don't want to go, or they want you to do something for them that you really don't want to do, then your response is, no, I have my own plans for myself, and if someone's pushing, you just stick to it. No, I have my own plans for myself. So saying no can be by saying a direct yes to yourself. It can then say no to that other thing that you really don't want to do. The second way that being a people pleaser breaks you down is that it causes you to build resentment toward other people. When you're constantly giving in ways that you don't really want to give to people and doing things that people could be taken advantage of, or they could be unaware because they could think, that it's not a problem if it's never been expressed. But when you're constantly saying yes to these people, it can end up causing you to build resentment. And the problem with that is that these could be people you really care about, but because you're not being authentic or true to yourself, true to your feelings, you end up potentially hurting relationships. And that can look like being explosive with them when there was no zero, it's like 0 to 100. You don't say something and then suddenly you're saying all this stuff in a way that is all of the pent up emotion that has built inside of you because of that resentment. Or you begin to avoid these people, and you end up not having enjoyment with these people when you once did. And it's only because you're not utilizing your voice to be able to say how you really feel. And so that is the real alternative to this, is to start really speaking how you really feel. And this could also still be stressful, the thought of this, to a people pleaser, right? But just think about what this could do in the long run. So if it's someone that is in your life because you care about them, and if they care about you, you voicing, your concerns, they should be receptive to want to hear and understand what's concerning to you. And if you have people in your life that when you hold these boundaries, it becomes so problematic, they are upset, or it seems like it's something that is like they're not caring about what's important to you, it might be an indication in some of those relationships on if these people are, just wanting you to do for them. So that's number 2. Let's get into number 3. The third way that this could break you down is that you build resentment towards yourself. And that's even more compromising than having resentment toward other people, because our goal in this life should be to develop and love self, to get to know yourself. But when you are overextending yourself, the one person you can never fool is yourself. Deep down, if you're doing something because you just want that acceptance from someone else, because you want to be embraced or liked, but there has to be this importance of liking yourself. To like yourself means to also honor yourself. Think about how you treat other people when you like them. Giving this to yourself, because when you don't, again, you can't fool yourself. And so deep down, you begin to have these negative self-talks, really taken away from how you even see yourself as being worthy. And it makes you look at yourself in a way that you're not proud of. So thinking about how can you, again, give love to yourself, because also when you are doing something for yourself, you will know that deep down. And when you start doing those things, even if it starts in small ways, you're starting to build that part of you up. And the real you will appreciate that. The real you that's buried down underneath this facade that gets put on when we're being people pleasers, that person will appreciate you more. And that is who you want to grow to be in the first place. When you're people pleasing, you are not acting from a place of authenticity, and not acting from a place of authenticity causes you to never really be able to be in your joy, to be in your happiness, because you're not even being the real you. It causes you to not even know who you are anymore, not even know what you want anymore, because you could spend so much time trying to be something for someone else, be something that you think other people want, that you lose sight of what you really want and who you really are. And so I think that a good way to deal with this is to sit and remember your own values. What is it that you really value? What is it that you really want in life? And to visit that daily, several times a week, to keep that at the forefront of your mind so that you can think about this now when you're doing things for other people. Is it taking you away from your own values? And if it is, this is not authenticity, and this is not the direction that any of us should be headed in. And last, but it is definitely not least, is that when you are people pleasing, it breaks you down by teaching people that they can take advantage of you. Because we do teach people how to treat us. And so when you are not having clear boundaries, people can step all over them. Some people unintentionally, but then there are manipulators who will do that intentionally. They'll read that you don't have boundaries. They'll read that you're a people pleaser, and take advantage of that. So nobody wants to be taken advantage of. I love, and it can be difficult to speak up, to speak those boundaries, but I really love one of my mentors, Ralph Smart of Infinite Waters, who says to speak up even if your voice shakes. So it's okay if it shakes. It might not be the strongest statement that you've made in terms of how it sounds, but you made the statement. So you're putting it out there. And the more that you do that, the stronger your voice will get. But don't let a voice that doesn't feel as strong keep you from starting to speak. And I really love his video that talks about how to set boundaries and stop people pleasing. Infinite Waters or Ralph Smart has a video that says how to set boundaries and stop people pleasing. And I really love when I hear other people's take on this as well, because again, it's so common that this people pleasing can really run amok in your life, and it can cause you just to not experience a joyful life. Again, remember, you can fool a lot of people, but we can never fool ourselves. We can never fool ourselves. And so people pleasing at the end of the day, we know we're doing it, and that can be so self-defeating to know that you're doing something that you don't want to do, that doesn't make you happy, but you're having challenges to break free from it. So I hope that this video helps you with that. Let me know in the comments section if any one of these tips for the people pleasers do you feel would be the easiest start for you to start stepping out of those patterns. Which of these 5 tips would be the easiest for you to use? And please like this video if you found this video helpful. Share this video with someone who you think could use it, and also subscribe to this channel so that you'll be informed when I post my weekly videos. And I will see you next week. I hope you have an amazing week, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.